All right. Can you feel it? Someone said Motown Thursday. You know what? You're kind of right. I got to tell you. I did Motown. The category is Motown and old school R&B. So I guess, sure, why not? Motown Thursdays. But it's also FTG Thursday. And I got so many tabs open that I can't really mess around too long waiting for this music to stop. But the main theme, you are the enemy. I'm finding that out in a lot of ways, not just with the president's speech, but I watched a little debate, or I don't know if it's a debate, but it's a discussion on Rakita's stream. And, the people who disagree with you, or if you push back, they don't want you to make a living. They don't want you to be able to work. They don't want you to be able to practice whatever profession you're in. They don't want you to be able to live. You've seen it with Alex Jones. You've seen it with Andrew Tate. And they're starting to get new targets. And I'm wondering if that's what's just happening with the president. Anyway, it's time to play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, Pinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dawg Knight.
Yep, that's me. Stop the music. Thank you. I doing that. That's me. Anyone know what that's from? I wonder if you can tell me what that's from. I've been doing that since about 1986, 85 maybe. That's me. Tell me who that is. Anyway, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. Glitch? What glitch? Is there a glitch? No, we're good. Okay. All right. Welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. And I'm glad you're here. Is this thing doing this again? Hang on a second. Son of a bitch. It did it again. Why is it doing that? I don't know. Anyway, so you might be seeing this in a lower resolution again. I don't know why. I reset it every day, and it should work. Anyway, welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. I am obviously late as usual because now that's becoming the norm with my other employer. But we did start a little early this morning in theory to get done earlier, and that worked great. Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. It is from National Lampoon's Vacation, Marty Moose. So, some of you already know that when I was in college, I was a college cheerleader. I stopped playing sports in high school. I marched one year because I was a musician too. So I marched in the marching band one year at Drake University. And then I was like, I don't want to do that. And someone said, I'm a big guy, big good looking dude. And, someone said, hey, you know what? You should come try out for cheerleading. I'm like, what? Why would I come out for cheerleading? And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, that might be fun actually. Because I would watch cheerleaders and they'd do all this cool stuff, guys throwing girls in the air and pyramids and shit. And I thought, I was like, okay, what the hell? I will try out. And on my first attempt to become a college cheerleader, I became a college cheerleader. And then we used, you go to a college cheerleading camp to learn a bunch of shit so you can be a college cheerleader. And then I was really good at the stunting thing. I was, big, strong guy. I could throw girls in the air. I could, catch them in the proper ways and shit. And so I said, you know what? I think it'd be fun to teach cheerleading camps for a summer. And so I applied to Universal Cheerleaders Association summer camps. And I had spent the first year, I spent 9 weeks traveling around the country doing teaching cheerleading camps. And at the time, that was the year that, or maybe it was the year after, National Lampoon's Vacation came out. And now Marty is not a common name, apparently. I mean, Martin, possibly, but for whatever reason, not a lot of people call themselves Marty. I don't, in fact, like, when you go to those, like you go to a truck stop and they have the keychain rack that has all the keychains that are personalized names, this and that, and Bobby and Donnie and Derry and whatever, David and this and that. You can almost never find Marty on those things because it's just not common. So anyway, I would go to these cheerleading camps, and for whatever reason, the very first camp I taught, it was at Southern Illinois University, and it was a high. These are all like high school, and I think high school, junior high camps, whatever we would teach. And they're almost all girls. There's some boys that go to them, but it's mostly girls. And you get each instructor is assigned 3 squads that they get to coach, on their personal routine, on their, their, little team routines. And then we teach partner stunts and all this other shit. And the very first camp, one of my squads, that was one of my, instructor squads, started singing, "Who's the moosiest moose we know?" Something, our favorite shot. And I was like, wait a minute, what is that? What is that? And then they did the whole song, and then Marty Moose, Marty Moose. And I was like, oh my gosh, they were singing that because my name's Marty. And I'm like, and so, that was the first time they did it. I was kind of, I was just kind of taken aback. I laughed about it. And so then they, for whatever reason, that was the big thing at that camp. And all of a sudden, all the squads were singing it. So finally, I just figured out, at the end of the song, Marty Moose, Marty Moose. And I went, that's me. And they fucking lost it. They went crazy. And so then, so when you travel around doing these camps, you usually you tend to travel. The instructors tend to travel in groups based on whatever camp you're going to and the size of the camp. So sometimes we'd have camps where we'd have 20 instructors because there's, 300 kids at the camp. In some camps, you'd only have like 4 because maybe there was, 10 squads tops. But one of the instructors that I tended to travel with, because we were both, one was from the University of Iowa and I was from Drake University. So they tend to put you in regions where they at least know something about your school. He decided to put it upon himself that every camp that he worked with me at, he would go and whisper to my squads, "Hey, let's go sing the Marty Moose squad." So, for the 4 years that I taught cheerleading camps in the summers. Now, the first year I only taught high school camps. Then the next 3 years, I also got to teach college camps. Now, let me just tell you something. Not that I was like this, but one of the things that, being a college cheerleader, and if you're a tall, decent-looking guy, and I was a decent-looking guy in college, chicks dug me, and you go to the high school camps and like, no, don't even think about it. But at the college camp, you're 20, 21, 20, 21, 22-year-old guy, or you're a college guy, and you're around all these college girls, and they're all, college cheerleaders. Think about it. I mean, and especially when you're one of the straight guys, because not all the guys are straight who did college cheerleading. Most were, but not all. But there's not as many. The ratio. Let's just say it's a really cool job for a guy who's 20 years old in college in the summer. They pay you to travel around the country, so that's how I got to travel around the country. Anyway, that was way too much information, wasn't it? Let's say good morning, everybody, and get into the news, because we got to get to these FTGs. First in chat today, what's going on here? Oh, that's weird. Why is that? There's all kinds of little glitches going on in here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Anyway, I should probably reset this because Tazzy is not the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today. Let me fix that real quick. Okay. All right, let's say good morning to everybody. There we go. All right. First in the chat today is our friend Advocatus Diablo, who is always bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and quick on the draw. Also, good morning, Somnambule Nation. Tyrannus Alexandrius, Invictus Soul, is in the house. Also, good morning, Infamous One. Simon Wolfwood, Rotten Corpse is here. Good morning also to, oh, hang on. I do have my cup of coffee. My cup of reparations. I don't know what that, wow, that light is really making it hard to read that. Anyway, fueled by gangster rap and coffee. Also, good morning, Man Squatch, Tyler F., D.I. Freighter Watcher, Aaron Meredith, Mike Savage, Blarg. Good morning, Jay Pylon, and, oh, shoot, what did I do there? There we go, Septus Wolf, Select a Boy. Yeah, boy. Also, good morning. I'm just scrolling down. Is that everybody? Jim Beebs in the house. Nice to see you. Reacciona Puerto Rico. My friend from Hotep Nation. Also, good morning. Is that, I think I'm almost there. I think that's it. Jimmy Das Hotep's in the house. Good morning. Keebler's here. What up? That might be it. There's a lot of, man, y'all are talking up a storm too. All right. So, and Chicago Mike, Jonathan Peterson, what's happening? I think that's everybody. If I missed, Renee Mayette too. Hello, Renee. Good to see you. All right, let's get into it because I got so many tabs open. So this is going to be like an entire, well, I got about an hour left. God. This is going to be an hour of lightning round as much as I can. I am kind of verbose sometimes, so maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't. But we can touch on a lot of subjects. First of all, I wanted to check was if anything cool or not cool was trending on Twitter. There's a rest in peace, Dave. Apparently this is trending because it's just a nice memorial to a lady's husband, but I don't think it's anything that we need to check into. Alaska is trending because, we'll get into that because Sarah Palin lost. They have that stupid, what do they call it, where you get a second chance election. So a seat in that House of Representatives is a special election that's been held by Republicans for about 50 years, flipped to a Democrat. But I think it's because of Alaskans don't like Sarah Palin than they like this Mary Portola. But anyway, get into that a little bit later. Bank of America's trending. Bank of America's community affordable loan solution aims to make sustained homeownership attainable. Why is that? What? Oh, good God. You know what? So this is something that I oh shit, where did I do that? Where's Ace? I need to close Ace. Let me fix this so you can see shit here. There's Ace. And bingo. There we go. All right. This is it? My screen's not refreshing properly. Of course. Good God. It might be time to buy a new processor. All right, here it is. I didn't want to put it on the screen before. So when I was in the mortgage business, I used to be a mortgage banker, and I was pretty good at it. I did a good job. I was really good at getting all the docs for my processes, and just making sure that all the lines were dots, whatever, dots, ties, T's, crossed, whatever, dots, T's and shit, right? I was pretty good at it. And I wasn't great at the sales part, but I was good at, getting all the information that they needed. Usually got it done and get it all at once, get it all to the underwriters. Underwriters would approve my loans, and we would, go close on houses, right? And but one of the things that was happening in the time that I was doing this part of the business is that we made the entire nation, because this is during I guess it was in George Bush administration, right? And I started during the Clinton administration and the George Bush administration. Then I got out of the business in 2007 because I saw what was coming. And lo and behold, what I saw that was coming did come in 2008. We had the big crash, right? So one of the problems that we got into is that when Bill Clinton was in power, there was a big, and also George Bush, both of them. George Bush continued this. There was a big push to try to get loans and for people to buy houses in what we call emerging markets, lower income, lower credit scores, lower communities of color. Okay. Because there was a big thing, Acorn was a big deal, and they're saying, oh yeah, you're discriminating against black people. You're discriminating against people of color. You're discriminating against low income people who want to buy homes. And the fact of the matter was, no, we weren't. Not as an industry. There was redlining had been long gone. The banks underwriters never even saw your race. Unless you did something, underwriters didn't give a fuck about your race, okay? We had underwriting guidelines that were very, just basically models where if you fit criteria X, Y, Z with this much money down, you'd get the loan, okay? Had nothing to do with race whatsoever, had nothing to do with where you lived whatsoever, unless you're trying to buy some dilapidated piece of shit home that didn't, they couldn't put a loan on, right? However, what? What? Oh my God! What the hell does that? Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna even ask. I just saw what's in the chat, and I can't concentrate now. So anyway, but there was a big push to get into these emerging markets. So they started. There was already a subprime industry where people could get loans, a little bit sketchier credit and less documentation of your income and assets and shit like that. And we called them liar loans, okay? And sometimes, on occasion, it made sense to do some of those subprime or non-conforming loans that weren't conforming to what the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines were. Because there were people who had heavy cash businesses, for example, and they couldn't necessarily document their income, but you could prove, they could show, whether they could show it or not, you could tell by their cash business incomes that they could afford this particular loans. Well, what happened was the government and some of the lenders, the federal government started saying, "Oh no, we're starting to listen to what these Acorn people are saying, and we aren't doing well enough to get people of colors and people of lower income loans, right?" And part of the problem was, in reality, it was because a lot of people didn't fit the guidelines. The guidelines have been proven very successful to lower the success rate when you went by the traditional guidelines for getting loans were pretty good correlation to people successfully paying their loans. You didn't default on loans, right? Now, because they were very, 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 very interested in developing emerging markets, they began to make it a lot easier to get money. Problem was, if you went, I would always calculate based on the guidelines, and I was not a fan of it, so I just didn't do it. I didn't market to that. I didn't try to get it. It helped a lot of loan officers get really, 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 really wealthy, make a ton of money, because they would just go out and use these easy cash loans and just basically get as many people as they could. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick to. I'm going to stick to the old school guidelines and use ratios and debt to income ratios and whatever based on what people I know can really afford, because they just go out and they talk people into getting these loans that people couldn't afford. And so that's why you started seeing a lot of defaults all around the country, because a lot of loan officers made a lot of fucking money because they utilized the emerging market products to the fullest extent that they could, not really giving a shit whether or not the people that they were making money off would be successful. Now, one of the things that I found as this was going on, when my customers would come back to me, it was usually because They bought a home. They liked the service I gave them, and they came back to get a loan on their next home. That was my return client. Now, a lot of guys in my office that I worked with for several years, a lot of them would come back to their loan officer because, oh my God, they're in trouble and they need to find a way to get more cash out of their house. I was like, you didn't see that coming when you wrote that loan? So anyway, so Bank of America, and this is the longest topic I'm going to stay on today just because I just happen to see this trending right now. Bank of America has wait, what the hell's going on here? There we go. I just saw this, and this is happens during Democratic administrations. Bank of America has a new community affordable loan solutions, aims to make sustained home ownership attainable for more Black and Hispanic families, offering zero down payment, zero closing cost mortgages. Now, good morning, Nomad.
Stop. Hammer time.
Now, hello, Septive Wolves, too. Oh, did I say that already? I think I did. Anyway, so now, in my vast experience as a 12-year mortgage banking phenomenon, there's a problem. Not that it's great that they want to help people do this. But when they do this, you get a zero down payment, zero closing costs, mortgages. Now, that's a misnomer. When they say zero closing costs, that means that the lender either rolls the closing cost into the loan. Okay, you actually end up paying for it. And plus, when you do a zero down, you're getting a higher rate loan. And when you do zero down, zero closing costs, you still have closing costs from the title company and so on and so forth. So you usually still have to come with cash. Now there were even programs where you could borrow like 103% or 107% of the value of the home and to pay your closing costs, which I just abhorred. It almost never made sense, especially at a time when housing costs were going up really high, like they are now, right? The housing prices are really going up. So the lenders think, oh, this is going to continue forever, and they'll go 100%. But guess what? If the housing market crashes, you're upside down even more than when you started. Because usually if it's a zero down payment, zero closing costs, that's because they did a loan for a little bit more than the cost of the property that you're buying. But if the housing market crashes, they used to buy a $300,000 house, and all of a sudden the housing market crashes and home values drop, and now you got a $200,000 home with a $300,000 mortgage. You're fucked for a while. You can't take any more money out. If you get in trouble, all you can do is default. So the fact that NBC News is partnering with this Bank of America. This is trending on Twitter right now. Now let's see what people say. Now some people are saying, "Oh, is skin color the prerequisite for the loan?" No, well, in theory, no. But like they said, what they do is they'll also promote using these loans in what are known as low-income census tracts. So it's kind of the opposite of redlining, where they will have some more lenient lending guidelines for when you buy in a low-income census tract, which are often highly concentrated with people of color. Okay, as long as the houses are fairly solid, and sometimes they turn down the loans because the houses that people are trying to buy may not pass an inspection, or may not pass some other guidelines. So especially if it's FH. Now this, but by the way, the Bank of America Community Affordable Loan Solution, it's very possible that this is backed by a government program like the Federal Housing Authority, which has certain guidelines, which in fact has a little bit more stringent guidelines for the inspection on the home They do not allow homes that require a lot of repairs, for example. But even then, because the FHA programs, usually you have to put, at least when I was in the business, you had to put at least 3% down. That could be a gift or, from a relative or something, but you had to put 3% down and you still had to pay your own closing costs, whatever. But sometimes you could get the sellers to pay the closing costs. But here's the thing. When you buy a house, let's say you buy a house, right? And you have to put, 10, 20, or even just 3% down. When you put 3% down or 10% down or 5% down or 20% down or whatever, you have some skin in the game. You have at least an investment in that property, right? But, if you default on that loan, you're going to lose $20, $30, $50, $60,000, even $10,000. Some people losing $5,000 is too much, right? Because you had to put that down to get your house. But if you have a loan like this, Bank of America's Community Affordable Loan Solution, 0 down, 0 closing cost, and all you got is a loan, and you figure out that you're a little bit in over your head, what's there to lose if you default? What's there to lose? Other than your credit, right? Other than your credit, yes, it's flexible. Yeah, FHA loans for first-time home buyers I can't remember the word for it, but there's up to a certain level of house, you can put 3% down, you can roll your closing costs into the loan, or you can have your sellers pay the loan, the closing cost, your closing cost. But yeah, so there are some 3% down loans. But anyway, you don't have any skin in the game. Who cares if you default on it? It's you don't give a shit about your credit anyway. If you can't afford it, you just abandon the home, and the bank goes, and it goes back to the bank. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of these. I don't think this is a good way. I think you teach people financial literacy before you do a lot of 0 down loans. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, some of the questions people are, what's the catch? there's a catch. Well, the catch is, I don't know. If the housing market crashes and you've got 100% of their the loan's 100% of the value before it crashes, and the value of your property goes down, you're going to have to either be in that house for a long time before it goes back up, or you just default. The solution to a business racially discriminating against a group of people is not to start racially discriminating in favor of them, but rather to stop racially discriminating. Banks shouldn't offer 0 down payment mortgages and waive closing costs based on race. That is illegal. That's not what they're doing, but it is aimed for. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we might not get to any articles today because this one's fascinating to me. Let's read the article from NBC here because they're targeting certain places. Okay, Bank of America announces 0 down payment, 0 closing cost home mortgages for first-time home buyers in Black and Hispanic communities nationwide. Residents in selected Charlotte, Dallas, Detroit, Los Angeles, and Miami neighborhoods will be offered the program first. Now, doesn't mean necessarily that the loans are for Black and Hispanic people. That's the other part of this. This is what I'm pretty sure what they're doing is they're concentrating on low-income census tracts. Let me see if that's the truth as we go through this article. I wasn't even planning on this today. I have all these other articles open. I got 30 tabs open, but I might stick to this for a minute because I'm very curious. Bank of America said it's now offering first-time home buyers in a select group of cities 0 down payment, 0 closing cost mortgages to help grow home ownership among Black and Hispanic Latino communities. Well, at least they didn't say Latinx. Good for NBC. The option will be first become available in certain neighborhoods in Charlotte, Dallas, Detroit, Los Angeles, and Miami. The new mortgage, called the Community Affordable Home Solution, aims to help eligible individuals and families obtain affordable loans to purchase a home. Now, here's the other thing, though, and this will get your gentrification haters up in arms. A lot of times when they started these low-income census tract special loans for low-income census tracts, because they were trying to get people of color to buy homes. Well, it's not based on your race. It's based on where they designate the neighborhood that your low-income census tracks. So, for example, a neighborhood that might be 85 to 90% black people or 85 to 90% Hispanic people, if they would use, and it happened to be that low-income census tract, you know who would sometimes get the loans for these low-income census tracts because there were special deals? White people, because they'd like, oh, well, I can get this deal in this neighborhood. I'm willing to live in this neighborhood among all these black and Hispanic folks just to get this special deal. So it doesn't mean that we black and Hispanic people getting the loans, because they cannot discriminate. We, or what I used to be say we, but I'm not we anymore. They cannot discriminate based on race or ethnicity. So it's a perfect way to gentrify a neighborhood. Oh my gosh. Anyway, home ownership strengthens our communities and can help individuals, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you know what? That's just oh, we're so good people. Hello, Kay Shull and JMK and Jim Beam, and I didn't see y'all here earlier. Oh my God. This is just their spokesman giving some glowy, flowery reason why they're doing it. Make the dream of sustained homeownership attainable for more black and Hispanic families, and as part of our broader commitment to the community that we serve. The loans require no mortgage insurance. Oh my God. Not even So by the way, mortgage insurance, when you pay mortgage insurance, you're not insuring your mortgage. Like if you default on the loan and whatever, the mortgage insurance is protecting the lender in case you default, but you have to pay for the insurance in case you default, which would cover the lender's cost of either acquiring or selling that home. So when you pay mortgage insurance, because you put less than 20% down, it's not insuring you; it's insuring the lender. It's you get to pay if you don't put enough down. You get to pay to protect the lender from you defaulting. But anyway, these loans, these 100% loans with no closing costs, would require no mortgage insurance. The additional fee typically charges borrowers who put less than 20% down on the purchase price at no minimum credit score. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God. Oh my God. And no minimum credit score. Look, as someone who spends plenty of time in this industry, as whatever you think about credit scores, they are a very accurate gauge on the viability of a borrower, on the predictability of whether or not a borrower will default on any type of loan or have late payments or whatever. This is amazing. This is straight out of the Acorn playbook back in the day. Oh my God. By the way, Acorn, that group that what's his face, James O'Keefe took down. Acorn, I used to laugh because Acorn would put out a report every year about how lenders discriminated against the minorities and people of color, blah, 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 blah. And this, poor people, yada, yada, yada. And they'd have this, it'd be like a 20-page report, right? And I remember when I first looked at one of those reports in 1995, right? Because that's when I first became a loan officer. And I remember I read that report. I'm like, oh, damn, man. Our industry is not being fair to poor people. And then I started looking at it and go, wait a minute. You know what they never bring up in this thing about discriminating and why? Because they'd always go by group, like group characteristics and group, what do you call it? When they take all the statistics for group, right? Disparities between groups, right? But the one thing that they would never put out in this report, ever, would never mention in the reports, was people's credit. Now, maybe if you've been hanging around brothers enough, I know I hang around brothers some, and one of the great jokes within the black community, we make these jokes ourselves with each other, is about with black people having bad credit. Okay, now It's sort of. Now, I had plenty of black clients who had fantastic credit and were very successful buying homes, did a great job. They paid their mortgages. Sometimes they'd come back to me 5 years later. They want to buy another house and they come back to me again, or they want to refinance because they're doing want to do an addition and blah, blah, blah. But the stereotype is somewhat real. That's because a lot of people in lower income communities are not as good with credit, and it's people don't learn about credit in high school. They don't know, and so they just don't know, and they have bad credit. But it is absolutely a good predictor of whether or not people will pay their loans, and also the reason that you put mortgage insurance on people who put less than 20% down is because those people are also more likely to default a loan. The more money, more skin you have in the game, the less likely you would want to lose it, and you will make sure that you make those payments. This case, holy shit. No minimum credit score. This is what they're going to do is they are destined, or they're going to make people destined to fail. It's just all there is to it. Now, they might have strict income requirements. They might have to be able to show if they might have some alternative credit requirements. And when I say alternative credit, things that don't go on your credit score. So if you pay your cell phone every month, you pay your electric bill every month, you pay your water bill every month, you make a car payment, or not a car payment, but things that don't go on your credit score, cable every month, and you can show that you have a great payment history on those things. They might be using some alternative credit in these things, because when they say no minimum credit score, sometimes it's because people don't have any credit. And so when you have no credit, then you don't have good credit scores, usually not good enough to be eligible for loans. So they might be using alternative credit in these cases. I'm not 100% sure. Your 777 credit score is a unicorn. Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I know mine's in this high 700s, and Lady Boomer's was over 800 at one point, but I think hers is lower than mine now because she started using one of her credit cards a lot more. But anyway, I could talk about this shit all day. But anyway, so then they go into this article. They continue the article. This is almost like they wrote this. They I don't know if Acorn came back as a different organization, but this sounds like something that out of an Acorn report. Oh, about that Acorn report. So first one I read in 1995, right? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then the next year, again, there's Acorn report comes out, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember reading one of these last year. So I just happened to keep the PDF on my computer. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm reading this new one because I just read a lot, as much as I could about my industry. And I read the new one. I was like, this sounds, I mean, the wording, the paragraphs, the phrasing, everything sounds the same. And I'm like, I went back. So I'm like, well, I think I still have that other one. I went and got the other one, right? And the report was word for word exactly as the one from 1995, right? Except for a few of the statistics were changed. And in 1996, they made a big deal. All the major news outlets would report on this Acorn report, talking about how there's discrimination in lending, blah 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 blah. And so I'm like, well, that's weird. Why would they write the exact same report and release it again? Then in 1998, it came out again. Exact same wording, same paragraphs. They just changed the cover picture, but then they added, the little couple statistics here and there. They were churning this same article over and over and over just so they could get press every year talking about discrimination in lending. Now, this was during the Clinton administration. The Clinton administration was, doing the Community Reinvestment Act and doing all these things to try to make lending easier. And then, honestly, during the Bush administration, they didn't change it much either, because George Bush was also big on trying to push home ownership. So for at least almost 16 years, they were doing this stuff to make it easier and easier and easier and easier to get money. But the more easy you make it to get money, you get people who cannot are not set up for success. And this is one of those programs, as I'm reading this, I'm like, this is straight out of 1996, 98, whatever, 2001, 2002. So anyway, so then they continue. So this is the part that reads just like one of those Acorn reports. The racial gap in home ownership rates in the U.S. remains substantial in 2020, the most recent year for which National Association of Realtors data are available. So you cannot compare homeownership by groups, group characteristics. It's not because of group characteristics, unless you want to talk about credit. But look, it's also, there are racial gaps in income. There's racial gaps in credit. There are racial gap. I mean, if there are more people of color in a certain income category, then yeah, of course the racial gaps in homeownership are going to be different. It's just stupid. For white households, the homeownership rate was 72.1%. That compares with 51.1% for Hispanic households, 43.4% for black households. The black homeownership rate was lower in 2020 than it was in 2010. Really? How about let's compare it to 2001. During the pandemic, rising home prices and low housing supply have disproportionately impacted black households more than any other race or ethnic group. Wait, black? Really? The NAR said in the report, that's the National Association of Realtors. White households are now 40% more likely to be able to afford to buy a home compared with black households, the association said. Really? How about we compare the people who live in those low-income census tracts? Is it because of the race or because of their financial situation? Are white people in the same financial situation, like they live in that same low-income census tract, in the same boat as any other minority that lives in that low-income census tract? This has nothing to do with race. It has to do with many other factors. Bank of America and other financial institutions like Wells Fargo have checkered histories when it comes to mortgage lending to people of color. No. It only if you say, and yes, I laugh because they say, oh yeah, and it was fine. Bank of America's countrywide financial. It's a subprime lender purchased in 2008. Countrywide was not a subprime lender. That's the funny thing. They were a prime lender. They had a subprime division. Was fined $335 million in 2011 over claims that it charged black and Hispanic homebuyers higher interest rates than white applicants. Okay, it's amazing that fine was levied, because when they compared the credit profile of borrowers, there was no difference between the interest rates charged to white versus black and Hispanic borrowers, except the other problem here. And I witnessed this myself, and it annoyed the shit out of me. Back in those days, there was a lot of brothers who were loan officers too. And sometimes brothers played on the ignorance of their fellow brothers. And sometimes, especially in the broker community, would charge their own brothers higher interest rates because the loan officers could make more money on the back end, which means the broker lenders had a kind of a point system where if you had a little bit higher interest rate, you could make a little bit more in the closing for the loan officer. And I laughed because I would sometimes get people who are trying to refinance loans, and I'm like, well, first of all, your credit's a little jacked, but also, why is your rate so high? I know what the rates were when you took out this loan. and I didn't charge that higher rate. I'm like, how did you end up with this? What was your credit score back then? Oh, really? How'd that happen? Because the brothers who were loan officers who found they were ripping off their own people. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, the 335 million in 2011 that they were fined, they were not. They were. There was no difference. Also, here's the other part too. If Countrywide was charging higher interest rates, was it based on the credit scores too? Because you would be required. I mean, if you had the lower your credit score, that would affect your interest rate, because they want to make it. And it's unfortunate, because it should be the inverse relationship. But anyway, but they had a higher risk. If you had a lower credit score, you were higher risk. So you had to pay more when you're higher risk. And so an analysis of the credit scores, in that when they made those fines, they didn't really do that analysis. But I could almost guarantee you that if there was a disparity based on race, it wasn't based on race, but it was based on credit scores. And if you look at average credit scores in some different communities, that would be an explanation for why there might have been higher rates charged. But also, it was sometimes just the brothers trying to make a little more money when they were selling someone a loan who didn't know what they were doing. Anyway, in 2012, Wells Fargo agreed to pay $175 billion to settle claims that it targeted people of color with risky home loans that were more expensive. Sometimes you had to, because they couldn't qualify for the conventional loans. And the city of Miami sued JP Morgan Chase in 2014, accusing the bank of predatory lending in community of color. Oh, well, they sued them. What was the outcome of that? Anyway, oh my God, I hate this. This is they're going right back to 1995, and we're going to have a few years of this where they're all going to just fall over themselves trying to give away money. And then they're going to find out, well, here comes 2008 again, giving out money like it's water. Oh my God. All right. Well, now it's really going to have to be lightning round, because I did not expect to talk about that for that long. Holy balls. Anyway, all right, let's just run through it real fast. And I'm not even going to go through the articles. I'll just leave them. They'll be in the description down below, in the one tab link in the second paragraph, where I put all the articles, tweets, and videos in a single link. You click on the link and it'll give you one page where everything is listed on one page. And I'll update that during the outro. Some of the articles I had pulled up that I'm just not going to get to. Tyrannical old Joe's secret police state. Miranda divided the New York Post. Here's the lead. The gall of Joe Antifa Biden, wrapping himself in the blue after the anti-cop violence and to fund the police movement he slyly egged on during the 2020 BLM Antifa riots. The breakdown of law and order in our cities is the consequence. Now he's back to posing as a big champion of cops and anti-semi-fascist, anti-Cefa, attempting to turn the tables on the party of law and order with wildly dishonest rhetoric that is frightening as it is absurd. It would be easy to laugh it off as a blathering of a spiteful, increasingly incoherent, angry old man. Wait a minute. I had something else here. Oh yeah, the thing.
You know the thing.
What Biden's puppeteers who guide him are doing, what he's doing is very sinister. They appear to be preparing the ground for an even harsher crackdown on his political opponents by the security state, which has become, to all appearances, secret police. Well, yeah, if you send them into Mar-a-Lago, they can certainly send them after your sorry ass, or if you protest that at a school board meeting or some shit. The president's intemperate attack on Republicans as semi-fascist, ultra-MAGA, white supremacists, and domestic terrorists have escalated as a midterm wipeout looms, and Biden's deadly polls have solidified despite hagiographic media lauding the comeback of Aviator Joe. So anyway, you can read the rest of that. She rips him to shreds. Now, he is doing just a reminder, he's doing a primetime address tonight, which I'm not going to be able to watch. Me and Lady Boomer are going to go to the State Fair tonight because we don't want to do the weekend crowds of the last weekend. So that's what we're doing for dinner, unless she changes her mind. We'll see how she's doing. But anyway, so I'm not going to watch it live. I was going to watch it live, and plus it's kind of around my bedtime, and I'm just not going to be back in time. So anyway, we are going to. I may tomorrow. We might just watch the whole thing tomorrow. I'll see how long it is. But the other part too is he keeps lying about the January 6th riots. In fact, here's what he said. Oh, he said he lied about the January 6th Capitol riot, characterizing it in a supposed quote from some unnamed foreign leader as a mob of 1,000 people storming down the hallways and killing several police officers in the meantime. He literally said that. Not one police officer was killed on January 6th. But he sarcastically referred to brave right-wing Americans who support the Second Amendment as a protection against government tyranny. If you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. So yeah, he's threatening people. Anyway, that was the onus of the title today, part of it. Because he's basically saying that you are the enemy. He's saying that you or anyone who strays from his perfect cause of righteousness and safety, you're the enemy. If you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black. If you don't vote for Biden, you are the enemy. No, not a corn dog dinner. Our state fair has ridiculously good food. I mean, there's things you can get. I mean, there's one stand that we always go. So here's the things we have to eat at the state fair. I don't know why I'm switching to this. One, there's a stand called Big Ass Bacon, which is they just do slices of bacon, but they're literally like 3/8 of an inch thick bacon, and they serve it on a stick, and they give you chocolate sauce. Now, if you've never had a really good smoked thick slice of bacon with some chocolate sauce, you just have no idea what you're missing. The other thing we always get at the state fair is corn on the cob. The Minnesota State Fair is known for its giant corn on the cob stand. They sell probably close to 500,000 ears of corn during the state fair. The state fair also has there's an alligator stand where you get fried alligator. That's really good. What else do we always get? The Sweet Martha's cookies, unbelievable chocolate chip cookies, but you got to eat them like when they're fresh because they're really gross if you take them home and let them get cold. But hot off the pan like they serve them, delicious. There's a milk stand. We always get milk. It's not free milk. It's whatever milk. It's just milk. You get whiter chocolate milk for $1. You get all the milk you can drink. What is the other one? There's another one. What's the other one? There's one more that we always have to go to. I'll think of it. Well, I'll think of it later. But there's the different food places there are just amazing, and then we also like to go down and look at RVs, even though we can't afford an RV. Tazzy was talking about that the other day. Would you like to, if you could, would you just take off and travel around the country in the RV? I would do that in a heartbeat if I could afford it. If I could find a way to make somebody else pay for it or win a lottery and buy a big old rig, Lady Boomer and I would be gone in a heartbeat. I'd be doing my show from the road. Anyway, so stay for dinner. My mouth is watering. I need to move on. Lightning round. I'm really almost out of time. Anyway, what's her name? Karine Jean-Pierre appeared to admit that Joe Biden counts everyday Americans among those who constitute an extremist threat he is repeatedly railed against. So I'm just going to show you the clip. I think, did I show you this yesterday? Maybe.
When it comes to voters, how does the president differentiate between the ultra MAGA folks who he sees as an extremist threat to democracy and the average GOP voter?
So, can't talk about voters from here. As you know, no. Oh, no, I get you. Not gonna, I just need to say that, right? Just to,
Oh,
just
you
to
can't?
be clear.
But watch what he does.
I mean, the president has been really clear
He's been
about
really
the
clear?
leadership, right? The MAGA Republicans in leadership. They're the ones who have the platform. They're the ones who, again, the extremist part of the Republican Party. They're the ones who, folks listen to in their own party.
And what are they calling for violence?
By
Inciting violence.
Take away. They're the ones who are the legislators and trying to take away our rights.
Inciting
trying
violence,
to
take away your
our
rights?
freedoms. And
What are you
that's
talking
who the
about?
president is speaking to, right? He's being very targeted in that way and calling that out and
is he?
saying, we can't allow our democracy to be attacked in this way. And
Our
they
democracy,
have a
you know-
responsibility, right? They have a responsibility in how they are doing their business on behalf of their constituents.
Okay, and then when she says democracy, okay, remember, whenever she says democracy, you know what that means, right? Whenever these Democrats say, you're a threat to democracy, you know what that really means? You're a threat to the establishment, mostly Democrats, in power. That's what they mean. If they say the word democracy, just change the words to establishment, especially Democrats, in power. Democracy, establishment, mostly Democrats, in power. That's what you're a threat to. And then she asked, let's see, here's another part.
For folks sitting at home, when the president is talking about preserving the soul of the nation and his threats to democracy,
Threats to democracy.
He's not referring to those individuals. He's talking about Republican leadership.
Well, let me be very clear. It's not just Republican leadership. It's not just that blanket, right?
It's not just leadership.
An extreme portion, an extreme part of the party. He's been very, very clear.
Whoa. Didn't she before say that she can't talk about voters? Well, who is this extreme? This extreme part of the party. Who is that? Who could that be? If it's not the leadership. Oh, it's the people. The people who are the enemy.
That he was just in Maryland, as you all know,
Oh.
and he talked about Governor Larry Hogan.
Now, wait a minute.
Talked about how he is a conservative Republican who does.
Tyre, you live in Maryland. Is Larry Hogan a conservative Republican governor? He's a Republican and he's not terrible, but is he a conservative Republican governor? Larry Hogan, answer me that.
Who is not in that bucket. Right?
What bucket might that be? What bucket? He's not in that bucket. A bucket of deplorables? A bucket of ultra MAGA? A bucket of terrorists? Which is it? What is it, Karine?
Very clear, and he was very purposeful in saying that and being respectful to conservative Republicans who are not part of that.
Oh, like
extreme.
Liz Cheney. Now, Liz Cheney is a conservative Republican, but she also, she obviously hates the Trump family probably because the Trump family can't stand Dick Cheney. But, and look, Liz Cheney's bone with Donald Trump, I'm not sure, because she voted on almost everything Donald Trump proposed, but whatever.
Again, want to be very clear here. This is not a blanket statement.
It's not a blanket statement.
What we have seen for some time.
Wait, not a blanket statement for what? You seem to say that the ultra MAGAs are the problem. They're the terrorists. Holy moly.
Since 2017, as the president wrote about in his article, right? When you are supporting an authoritarian figure, as we have seen, who is leading
authoritarian figure.
Whoa!
Whoa! Did she just say authoritarian figure? You mean the guy who? You mean the guy who just with a swipe of the pen, forgave $500 million in student loans, or billion, or whatever. I don't even know how much it is. It's billions, isn't it? FTG to the whole administration. There we go. That's what I say. Authoritarian. Mr. Executive Order is calling someone else an authoritarian. You got to be kidding me. You know, if the guy with the funny hair was truly an authoritarian, if he was truly a dictator, if he was truly, that awful, he'd still be in office by his own authority. No, he tried to go, they tried to find as many legal means as possible for him to stay in office. And once that they exhausted all the possibilities beyond January 6th, what happened on January 20th, 2021? Oh, was it a peaceful transfer of power? You fucking morons. Jesus. Here. It's funny. What's funny is this guy, notice this guy's kind of smiling and laughing as she talks too. That's really weird to me.
And saying inciting the violence that you are, or
inciting the violence. Take away our freedoms.
We need to say something. He's not going to shy away from that.
Okay, well, you can FTG. All right, let's move on. I'm just going to run through these real quick because I'm not going to get to them. Garland has doubled down in the cover-up of FBI misconduct in the Mar-a-Lago raid. The Biden administration made a major mistake when they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. They've been facing accusations of impropriety ever since, and polling suggests that people believe the raid was politically motivated. The evidence that the Biden administration has been engaged in a cover-up is astounding. On top of that, numerous FBI employees have recently come forward to expose the Bureau's blatant politicization against allegations that they quashed an investigation of Hunter Biden before the election. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg also claims that had it not been for the FBI warning, Facebook wouldn't have suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story. Now Garland has sent a memo reminding the DOJ employees of the policies about communicating with Congress. He's warning his FBI agents not to talk with Congress. Well, I don't know if you have the Jim Jordan letter in here, or not Jim Jordan, Cotton. What's it? Cotton from Arkansas. He put this memo out. Here's Attorney General's memo to his agents. I think you need to see this actually. So I'm just not going to get through it. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff I'm not getting to. You'll just have to check out the tab. There's all kinds of stuff in there. So Merrick Garland sends a memo out to the entire Justice Department FBI. Good God, come on. Reminding DOJ employees of the policies around communications with Congress. And I want come on. You're making me very angry. So here's the memo. If it'll ever pop up. I need a new processor. In light of the confirmation earlier this month of Carlos Uriarte and his Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legislative Affairs, this is an appropriate time to reaffirm and remind all department personnel of our existing policies regarding communication between the Justice Department and Congress. These policies, which can be found at Justice Manual 1-8000, may be supplemented from time to time with more specific directions for particular components, like the policies regarding communication with the White House. These policies are designed to protect our criminal and civil law enforcement decisions and our legal judgments from partisan and other inappropriate influences, whether real or perceived, direct or indirect. Memorandum from the Attorney General, Department of Justice Communication with the White House. They are also designed to ensure that Congress may carry out its legitimate investigatory and oversight functions. And as this thing makes clear, nothing in these policies is intended to conflict with or limit whistleblower protections, such as those provided in USC. All right, so really, though, here's what he did. He decided to warn people, hey, stop talking to Congress and the Senate. And so Tom Cotton sent the letter out to them that said, hey, guess what? if you're a whistleblower, you are protected by this, and this statutes. So if you have something to tell us that that any improprieties within the Justice Department, you absolutely have the right to talk to anyone in the Congress or the House or the Senate, and particularly oversight committees. So basically, Tom Cotton said, "Fuck you, Garland." Good for him. FBI's been getting ripped for the staged photo of the document seized at Mar-a-Lago. Lots of people tweeting about that. You can look through the tweets. It's kind of funny. Also from the Daily Caller, what did I open up here? Oh, God, this computer's killing me. FTG FBI not looking to get raided. They find all the Cheeto bags. Yeah, what was that about Cheeto dick? Someone was saying about... Anyway, I don't know what that meant. It was really weird. California is warning residents. This is what the article is. I don't know why it's not working. California is warning residents not to charge electric vehicles because of blackouts. I just said this the other day. California. Remember the other day they said that they're going to ban the sale of any fossil fuel powered cars, which electric vehicles are fossil fuel powered cars, but they said they're gonna, by 2035, they will no longer allow the sale of gas powered vehicles. Guess what? Now they're telling the residents not to charge their vehicles because they have rolling blackouts. The jokes write themselves. They just do. All right, let's see what else. Now what? Hello, Win. What's up? Apparently seems the immunity depends on whose whistles they're blowing. Oh my goodness, that's a little spicy. Oh my goodness. Anyway, in the Daily Caller, that's the Daily Caller. Daily Wire. What was this article? Oh, also in California, researchers are reintroducing beavers to build dams to fight droughts and fires. Apparently, the beaver population has lessened, and now they need to reintroduce beavers to the sides. Experts are hoping to employ a damn good solution. To the continued problem of droughts and wildfires raging across the western United States, researchers in California and Utah are reintroducing beavers to parts of the two states in the hope that they will supply water to drought-parched regions by building dams. The researchers told CBS News that dams block river and stream water that can be stored and eventually deposited into the ground, which will help create a barrier against fires. So that's interesting. Okay, no beaver jokes. You can read the rest of that. That's very interesting, though. It's an interesting concept. I'm curious. Toyota is going to be taking advantage of President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act by creating new jobs in red states to build electric vehicles. They're tripling down on EVs as red states. Green windfall continues. I think they're doing this in Tennessee and South Carolina. I don't know why my computer is telling me to fuck off today. Oh, good Lord. Just show me the page. I know I got a lot of them open, but damn. What's this? That's that. Okay, I don't need that. Okay, yeah, I know. It's just, this is killing me. It's not my internet. It's the refresh. Okay, here we go. So, following a series of multi-billion-dollar investments in U.S.-based electric vehicles, battery plants in Republican-controlled states by its competitors, Toyota announced Wednesday that it would nearly triple its investment in its own U.S. battery manufacturing plant in North Carolina. While Toyota originally invested $1.29 billion with a B in the Liberty, North Carolina facility, its investment has skyrocketed to $3.8 billion. It's almost, well, not tripled, but it's more than doubled. Let's put it that way. Making the facility it's almost triple. Making the facility central to Toyota's goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2035. Look, they're not going to reach carbon neutrality by 2035 because in order to get all those minerals that are required for batteries to build these cars, you're going to be doing a lot of strip mining in all parts of the world. Oh, also, apparently I don't know if the Canadian government, some company in Canada just got all the rights to the mining rights in Greenland. Now, that's interesting because, Greenland is really a country or region that's covered in ice, but because now the ice is melting, they were going to make it a little bit easier for them to, what's going on here? Oh my goodness. Wait, did you do that twice on purpose, or is that an accident? Or did you just play twice? Carnivore Dad, thank you very much. Real quick. By the way, Carnivore Dad is... Oh, it is just once. Okay. Carnivore Dad,
You are
the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. I suppose I could do some music for this. Let's try this. Maybe. Is it going to play? All right. Thank you, Carnivore Dad. Dropping a big 2.5 in the tip jar. I greatly appreciate it. And you are the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day, who says, that's for the peasants. The politicians are getting around in the government SUVs provided by GM, who they bailed out, a.k.a. Oh, that's Jimmy Das Hotep. Thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. Now I figured it out. I didn't know that you were the Carnivore Dad. I should have known that. Jimmy Das has been busting his ass for about a year. Jimmy Das has lost a ton of weight and is a dedicated workout guy. And he is inspiring me to get off my ass once in a while. Thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. Greatly appreciate your sponsor of the show. All right, I'm really out of time, so let me just we'll go through headlines. IRS sent over $1 billion in stimulus checks to locked up criminals, including murderers. Yay! Way to go! Oh, God.
Resist, we much.
Good God. Also, let's see. Border Patrol head testifies that Biden's no consequences policies has caused the border crisis. Oh, shocker. In the PJ media, apparently Super Pimp Joe Biden keeps America's sex traffickers well staffed. So this problem at the border, that's a hell of a headline. In recent weeks, New York is the latest example of how President Biden has done yeoman's work to keep America's pimps and sex traffickers well-staffed and ready to service their sleazy clientele. Between Biden's open border policy and his taxpayer-funded intrastate transportation of illegal aliens, he's done more to traffic human victims than just about any Democrat since the old slave days. So if you want to know how it works, this article will definitely be in the tabs. Moving on. From CNS News, Biden's addresses Mexico's biggest complaint about the southern border, but no mention of U.S. objections. Speaking about his Safer America plan in Pennsylvania Tuesday, President Biden mentioned Mexico's concerns about the southern border, but not America's concerns about the southern border. Quote, Mexico, which has real problems, causing us real problems. You know what their biggest complaint is? Can't we stop gun trafficking across the southern border to Mexico? Yeah, that's the biggest problem at the southern border is gun trafficking from here to there. Hey, how about the fentanyl coming from China to there to here? How about a lot of people crossing the border with not a single booster shot for the stupid 19? How about, oh my God, I can't do it. Who cares what Mexico thinks? Oh, this is somebody. That's exactly what this guy said. Former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf told Fox News Tuesday night, well, to be honest, I'm not really concerned about what Mexicans think. I'm concerned about what Americans think, and I'm concerned about putting America first. Okay, you can read the rest of that yourself. I don't have time. Also, PJ Media. The New York Times is writing about the Washington Post financial struggles. Break out the popcorn, bitches, because it is blue on blue crime. The New York Times says in the years after Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post in 2013, business boom, droves of readers bought digital subscriptions, and the newsroom roughly doubled in size, adding hundreds of more journalists. But the Post business has stalled in the past year as the breakneck news pace of the Trump administration faded away. Yeah, they made lots of money on Donald Trump. Donald Trump been very, very good to me. But readers have turned elsewhere, and the paper's push to expand beyond the Beltway coverage hasn't compensated for the loss. The organization is on track to lose money in 2022 after years of profitability, according to two people with knowledge of the company's finances. So we got two people with knowledge of the company's finances. So the New York Times is shitting on the New York Post, or excuse me, the Washington Post, and we'll see how that continues. Like I said, bring out the popcorn. Later, DI. Nice to see you. Let's see, real quick. Let's see. New York legislators want credit card companies to track gun and ammo purchases. Oh, this is okay. So New York, after that Supreme Court decision, New York has decided to completely double and triple down on all of their stupid gun regulations they're trying to push through. So now they want credit card companies to track gun and ammo purchases. The legislators want to make it easier to detect credit card purchases at gun stores. According to Gothamist, at least 48 legislators in the Empire State have contacted MasterCard and American Express via letter asking for purchase codes to be created for guns and ammunition. While there are codes unique to some purchases, in many cases, the companies track where the transaction was made, but not what was actually purchased. Currently, for MasterCard, there is no code for the purchase of firearms. The legislators wanted just such a code to be implemented. Proponents claim that the move would make it easier to target gun traffickers and prevent mass shootings. Yeah, they just want to know who's buying guns, and frankly, FTG. All right. In the data caller, kinetic assistant. Oh, so that, did any of y'all see the Project Veritas video on this Connecticut assistant principal who was bragging that he blacklisted Catholic and conservative teacher prospects? So this guy was, he found a way to ask questions. He basically refused to hire any Catholics or anyone who hinted conservative as teachers. He wants to indoctrinate kids. He thinks it's important that you indoctrinate kids with Democrat talking points throughout their schooling. And so now that he's been placed on leave, thank you, Project Veritas. You are great Americans. The other thing, he wouldn't hire older teachers either. He's in a school district that is consistently higher pay, and they get a lot of experienced teachers applying for any new positions. So a lot of times, experienced teachers from other school districts would say, "Hey, there's an opening in this school district. I can make $10,000 more a year if I go over there." But he wouldn't hire teachers like over 30 years old because they might be set in their ways, and they might be conservative. Absolutely fuck that guy. FTG to this jagoff. Anyway, there's a California school district that's disseminating health education curriculum with 10 sexual preferences and 8 genders. Yay! Oh my God.
Your life makes me sad.
Teachers from Southern California School District are allegedly teaching children through health education textbooks that there are 10 sexual orientations and 8 genders. Fox News Digital reported that the textbook, called Comprehensive Health Skills for High School, ordered by Newport Mesa Unified School District, makes such claims about gender and sexuality. Oh, God. If you can, fucking homeschool. My God. Well, especially if you're in California in the district that's called the Newport Mesa Unified School District. Oh my God, it's insidious. I'm going to have guests talking about this more. There's a group of Yale students who clean litter from a homeless camp. Students who clean litter from a homeless camp committed violence. They cleaned up litter. A group from Yale says students who cleaned up litter from a homeless camp committed violence. Leaders of the Yale University Orientation Program are apologizing for participants who helped clear a homeless encampment, which they call an act of violence. A group of students in Yale's community service-driven focus program were assigned to help in the New Haven Department of Parks and Trees to collect litter in the city. On August 24th, the department supervisor had students remove clothes and other debris from a homeless encampment. The group said had been forcibly evacuated by police. So the police evacuated a bunch of the homeless people, right? And so the students who were part of this focus program went over and cleaned up the area where they had removed all these homeless people. But upon discovering the atrocity, Focus pulled students from the site and terminated its partnership with the Department of Parks and Trees. On Wednesday, the program's student leaders issued a statement of an apology telling the Yale Daily News they had committed violence and theft against the unhoused. This sort of violence, cleaning up after the cops and theft of unhoused people's homes and belongings, is antithetical to the values of Focus, the statement said. Enough. If you're in Pennsylvania, John Fetterman's reason for opposing voter ID. Here's John Fetterman's reason for opposing voter ID. Listen to this. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, the Democratic candidate for the state's high-profile Senate race, says he opposes voter identification laws because poor people and people of color are, according to him, less likely to have their ID at any given time. Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Ask any black people in Philly if they have an ID. Ask any black people in Pittsburgh if they have any ID. Is Ypsilanti, is that Pennsylvania? Anyway, yeah, shut the I'm so tired of that line of thought. You cannot exist in life without ID. Poor people cannot get federal benefits without an ID. They can't cash a check from the federal government without an ID. They can't, you can't function in society without ID. Shut the fuck up. Fifth Circuit Court rules government cannot punish religions, hospitals for refusing to perform abortions or gender transitions. So someone took a Catholic hospital or whatever to court. And first of all, the plaintiffs were the oh, I see. So the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously ruled that the government cannot punish religious hospitals for refusing to perform abortion or gender transitioning surgeries. The plaintiffs were Franciscan Alliance, Christian Medical and Dental Society, especially Physicians of Illinois. They claimed that procedures violated their religious beliefs. The unanimous panel of the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Friday upheld the lower court's permanent order shielding Christian Medical Dental Association and blah, 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 blah from enforcement action under the ACA's anti-discrimination provision known as Section 1557 for refusing to perform the procedures which they say violate their religious freedoms. You know what? There's not a doctor in America who can be forced to do anything, do any kind of surgery that they don't want to. Whether I don't even think it's whether religious freedom or not. That's ridiculous. Again, if you are a doctor who says I don't perform this particular type of surgery, I will not cut your cuticles. That's not what I do as a doctor. It's not my specialty. You don't have to cut someone's cuticles. I don't perform appendectomies because I don't. That's not what I do. You can't have me. I'm a fucking epidemiologist, or I'm a anesthetist, whatever that is. You know what I mean? Anesthesiologist. I don't perform appendectomies. I'm a doctor, but I don't perform that. Fuck off. So good on the Fifth Circuit. Good on the Fifth Circuit. And I don't think that they're going to appeal that. That's a unanimous decision of the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that the government cannot punish religious hospitals for refusing to perform abortion. We have a hospital. Here's a list of services we provide. Well, we want you to perform abortions. We don't provide that service. There's a hospital over there you can go to if you want that service. What are you talking about? And I don't care what the procedure is. If we don't have that service, we don't have that service. Fuck you. I don't know. Let's see. What is this one? Oh. All right, I'm not even going to get to these. I'm way beyond time. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 more articles that I'm not even going to touch on today. But if you want to see those articles, in the description down below, in the second paragraph, there's a link called a one-tap link where you can click. I will update that during the outro right after this show. And all these articles and tweets and blah, blah, blah will be in that link. You have to click the link. A single page with every single story that we went through or didn't go through are on that page. So check that out if you want to wait around, or you can come back later and check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me today at the Morning Night Live. I appreciate you dropping in. Please, before you go, hit the like button. Share the stream before, during, after the show. Especially hit the like button. There were 30 some people here, and there's only 20 likes. Come on now. Come on. Anyway, and share the stream before, during, and after. Put a comment in the comment section if you're watching on replay. And if you want to sponsor the show, like Jimmy Das Hotep, pdognight.live is the Streamlabs link where you don't have to give Susan 30%. We also do take YouTube super chats, which I appreciate those too. And there's a couple other options in the description down below. All right. I'm so late that I got to go. Can't diddle around. Thank you for being here. My name's Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.